Everybody, peace of the Lord be with you. So today we're going to talk about harmful substances awareness. When we talk about harmful substances, we ask ourselves, what are they? As Elder explained, it's a broad subject, but we're just going to pick and choose a few things that we see in everyday life, talk about it. Unlike yesterday when we did diabetes, a lot of the stuff that we talked about were the things that we have to do to keep healthy. Today, we're going to talk about things that we have to stay away from to keep healthy. And when we talk about the harmful substances, these are things that can cause physical harm and cellular inflammation, that means your body tissue inflammation. It can cause respiratory issues. It can cause toxicity. It can cause organ damage and long-term illnesses when one is exposed to it. Some of these things are classified into broad categories, but these things are commonly found in the environment. We also come in contact with it in our homes, our workplaces, beverages, and some of the food that we eat. The first one that we want to talk about, and I especially picked this subject because July is coming soon. It's going to be a very big Independence Day in America. And I know a lot of people have already started fireworks in the communities. So one of the harmful substances is called explosives. And these explosives are substances or devices that are capable of causing a sudden, violent release of energy, gas, and heat that can cause human injury. For example, dynamite. Dynamite can cause human injury. And firework. Firework can also cause human injury when people go to light it up. You have to time it well, otherwise you get your hands blown off, or you can get a device blown in your face. So these are the things that you have to be diligent, you have to be careful. You talk to your children, you talk to your adolescents. Don't let peer pressure work with them to cause harm to themselves. Another thing that we have to talk about is the things in our home. The first one is compressed gas, like the liquefied gas that we use at home, and propane. Propane, if it's not used correctly, if it's left on, it can cause damage, burns, and other stuff. Another harmful thing that we have to be careful and stay away from are flammable liquids, like gasoline, petroleum. A simple thing like the acetone, like nail polish, is also flammable. So when you're playing with it, when you're using it and you have children around you, be careful when you're lighting cigarette or you're lighting any kind of light around you or matches around you. Another harmful substance is oxidizing substances, and these are materials that yield oxygen and increases intensity of fire and other materials. Example of this is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, we use it as antibiotics, but it can also cause it can cause fire in the house and go into flame. The next one will be toxic and infectious substances. So things like pesticides, summertime, people will be gardening in their backyards and they will be having plants and they will be having insects and all that that they would like to get rid of. So when you're using pesticides, whether you buy it commercially from Home Depot or other areas, you have to be very careful that you don't inhale it when you're using it. You have to keep it away from your food because it can cause neurological problems. Another one is medical waste. And medical waste, oftentimes, when you have people that have wounds, they will clean their wounds and then they will just dump the waste into regular garbage and then put it on the roadside, and sometimes it gets opened up by animals. Another thing about medical waste has to do with needles, like people who take insulin or people who take other form of injectables like Neupogen. Sometimes they get rid of their needles in the garbage. I always tell patients that they should just get themselves a bottle, like a detergent bottle, and collect all your needles in there so you don't dispose it off in the regular garbage like that. Another thing that we have to be aware of is lead. Lead is in the environment, in our homes, in old paints. We get it in the dust. We get it in the soil. There is lead even in our pipes, like all the old pipes in the neighborhood. And then we get lead in pencils. So pencil, when the children are using it, you have to inform them not to put these things into their mouth. I remember growing up, I didn't know about lead. So pencil, sometimes we put it in our mouth, and we're playing with it. But these are harmful and we have to let our children know. Lead can cause a whole lot of neurological problems. It can cause gum problems. It can even make your teeth decay. So that's something to be aware of and try not to get exposed to it over time. One more thing that I want to talk about is aspirin. Aspirin has been around for decades, but we have to know that aspirin is always being researched into. We still don't know all the things that aspirin can cause in the body, but we have to be careful when we are taking aspirin. Some people have allergy to it. When you overdose on aspirin, and overdosing doesn't really mean that maybe you're taking 325 milligrams. Maybe somebody might take 500 milligrams or 600 milligrams. All persons are not the same. Somebody can take 500 or 600 milligrams of aspirin and they will be fine. But another person takes 325 and it can cause a lot of problems. It can put them into kidney failure. It can also damage a whole lot of their stomach tissue. Sometimes it can make you bleed, causing ulcers and all kinds of other illnesses. It is also advisable that you don't give aspirin to your children. Teenagers under the age of 16, you make sure that you do not ever give them aspirin because this is the pill that can cause them to have something called Reye's syndrome. In Reye's syndrome, they can have brain swelling and they can have kidney function. They can even shut the kidney down. Another medicine that is widely used is commonly called Tylenol. but the generic name is acetaminophen. That's one thing that I always want to advise people, that you gotta be careful. When doctors are prescribing for you, they will give you a generic name, and maybe sometimes you go to the pharmacy gives you the brand name. So always find out whatever is prescribed for you, what is the generic name and what is the brand name. So just in case you go to the pharmacy and the pharmacy gives you different names, you'll be able to coordinate and know that it's the same medicine, so that you don't take it twice. These are some of the circumstances where people overdose on prescription medication, because they have the names in two different forms. Lately, there has been a lot of pressure in the environment, and the number of our people, and especially the teenagers, the young adults that are having opioid addiction, has triplicated. So now we know, even with the transplant, now we try to get people's organs when they overdose on medication. But we shouldn't wait for that to happen. I know right now a lot of transplantation is doing well because of opioid overdose. We have to be careful to talk to our children, talk to our husbands, talk to ourselves, talk to our sisters, the family, to let them know to not get overwhelmed with outside pressure. Come to church and listen to the word of God, and that alone will cool your heart and make you forget about all the pressures out there. Opioids is a natural occurring medicine like morphine, oxycodone. Fentanyl is not natural, it's synthetic. The morphine and oxycodone and Percocet and all that is a naturally occurring medicine that we do give to patients during surgeries or during traumatic issues. But they are addictive. You take it for a couple of times, an extended period of time, and you can become addicted to it. And over time, being addicted to a medication can lead you to have illnesses, mental illnesses. You can go broke just by just spending your money on opioids, because you started having a seeking attitude. Whichever way that you can go to find a medicine, that's what you do, so you can get your high. Some of the problems that we have has to do with medications that we call NSAIDs, non-steroidal medications. And these are Advil, Motrin, Aleve, naproxen, and Celebrex. These medications, they are used when you have some inflammatory joint issues. It can take care of fevers. It can take care of other conditions, toothache, and etc. But when you use it to excess, it can go after your kidney. It can also cause ulcerations in your stomach lining. It can also affect your heart. It can actually put you into congestive heart failure. You can have your fingers all swollen up. You will see that your ankles and your feet will start swelling. These are side effects of naproxen or NSAIDs. Our next topic has to do with energy drinks. And energy drinks like Boost, you have Red Bull, you have Rocks, they call it. And these days, there are so many names that we have. They are non-alcoholic and is marketed as drinks that boost alertness and performances. But these medications contain sugar, high sugar. They contain high caffeine, and they contain a substance called taurine. Taurine is a stimulant, and when you use taurine to some degrees, it's almost like you're using cocaine because it affects your neurological balancing. One thing that the producers of these things have been doing lately, they've been adding vitamin B to it to make you have more energy. So people drink it, and for a couple of hours, they feel like they are energized. But it's a false energy because the boost of sugar and the boost of the taurine and the caffeine that you have in there is what makes you feel like you are invincible. But after a couple of hours, it will bring you down. It brings you down. And when you're down, now you're gonna want some more. That's how addiction to these drinks occurs. So we try to let you know to avoid it in the beginning, to start with. The next one is alcohol. Alcohol is also called ethanol, and it's a central nervous system depressant. That is, it slows your brain activity, it causes memory problems, it decreases your mental clarity, your coordination is off when you take alcohol, it can affect your mood, your behavior, and your self-control. It can also cause your blood pressure and heart rate elevation. We do have alcohol as a disease because researchers have found out that alcohol sometimes it runs in families, and they have actually traced it to a genetic background. Sometimes when you take the family tree, you can see how the alcohol is affecting certain people in the family. So these days, we treat it as a disease, the same way that you would treat a fever, the same way that you would treat arthritis. So if you have somebody or you know somebody who is imbibing in alcohol so much, it's better to let them seek medical help. All right? The family history and how much you take can also affect your the way it affects the body. We know that certain genes cannot handle alcohol. We know that the Asian community cannot handle alcohol as much as, let's say, somebody of Irish background can handle it. And we found out that there are certain things in your genetic makeup that will be lacking in the Asian community or the Asian person, which the Irish person might have abundance of. And so they are able to handle maybe a bottle of gin a day, while the Asian person of the same age will not be able to handle even a quarter of the same amount. Alcohol, when you take it over time, it affects the whole body. It affects your brain, it affects your liver, it affects your kidney, it affects your whole being. And your behavior, which is worse, it makes you feel like you can do it all. And these things here can lead to traumatic death. It can lead to alcohol poisoning. If you're pregnant and you're taking the alcohol, you end up with fetal alcohol syndrome. That means that your baby will also be drinking alcohol while in the stomach. And these babies, when they are born, fecal alcohol, the fetal alcohol syndrome babies, they have a distinctive look. You can see the ears are very low, the nose you can see the nose is low in the face, even the lips and everything, you can't miss it if you've seen it before. So let's save the children. If you're pregnant, stay away from alcohol. It's not good for you. Alcohol poisoning. Some people will drink until they pass out. And when you see somebody pass out from drinking, it's not because they had a little bit too much, but they have poisoned themselves at that point. It's a medical emergency, and we encourage that if you see somebody who drinks and passes out like that, they can progress to seizures. It's a medical emergency, and we will encourage you to call 911 so they can get help. There are some people that the minute they take the class, they light a cigarette. So now they're teaming it together. You're having the alcohol, which is killing your neurological system, it's killing your liver, it's killing your stomach, it's killing your kidneys. Now you add a cigarette, and that too is adding the lungs and everything to it. And that becomes a dangerous thing to do. Over time, that leads you to become a very unhealthy person. And alcohol, when you add it together, I have this quote from our pastor that says, it's Proverbs 23:32. And stings like a viper. That's the combination of the two drugs, the alcohol and the alcohol. When you put it together, you don't want it to bite you. Tobacco. The tobacco leaves and the plant. It's not the leaves that we worry about, but it's the content of the tobacco plant that has nicotine. Nicotine is addictive compound, and it acts as both a stimulant and a sedative. So it will be altering your mood and improving your concentration. So sometimes you see people when they are before, especially when we were in college, and the people who did smoke, you see them standing outside, they will smoke a couple of cigarettes before they enter the classroom because they believe that it improves their concentration in the class. So they will smoke it. And then they come into the class and they feel like, they can absorb everything that is going on. But we have to realize regular tobacco contains about 7,000 chemicals. And many of these chemicals are very toxic. And all these chemicals going into your body makes you become toxic yourself. And it causes a lot of health issues for your body. It causes lung disease, cardiovascular disease, it causes gum diseases, it causes diabetes, depression, and anxiety when you try to quit, and it causes vision loss. And also, how does it cause diabetes and how does it cause cardiovascular disease? Because every time you inhale a smoke, it puts your blood vessel into spasm. And when your blood vessel goes into spasm, the blood flow is not efficient. And we know that if you have diabetes and the sugar is eating the blood vessels, now you have sugar-eating blood vessel also going into spasms. You see, so this here makes your situation even worse. What about e-cigarette? E-cigarette, some people say, well, I'm quitting tobacco. So now I use e-cigarette. But e-cigarette is the same nicotine that is heated in the pipe. that they have is heated to the point that it produces aerosol. And the aerosol is what people inhale. And that makes them feel that euphoria. The reason why tobacco, aside from the 7,000 compounds and chemicals, the reason why it's addictive is because it has the nicotine in there. So the e-cigarette having nicotine in there, that means you're pumping the same nicotine into your body. We know, and researchers know that even though the nicotine or tobacco has 7,000 compounds, today we know that e-cigarette has 500 compounds. And most of these 500 compounds are also toxic. Is e-cigarette, what do we mean when we say vape or people are vaping? Vaping means that is the act of inhaling and exhaling the aerosol that is produced by the electronic cigarette. All right? And this also can cause coughing, it can give you dry mouth, it can cause dizziness, nausea, and sometimes it makes people collapse and lose consciousness. These days, now, there is an outbreak of e-cigarette related disease. So we have a new diagnosis now that we call E-Valley. So E-Valley means e-cigarette or vaping use associated lung injury. And this has killed a whole lot of people. Today, we have 2,000 people that have been dead, and we are still counting because the companies that are making these e-cigarettes, they have their own compound and flavoring that they are using, and the researchers are trying to catch up with them. So every time you have a new e-cigarette flavor comes up, you know something has been added on to the previous ones that they had. And so these days, we have something called popcorn lung. Popcorn lung is you have the lung and the trachea, and you have all the vessels in your lung, and there are nodules all over the trachea, and it closes in. So these people often have difficulty breathing. It starts with difficulty breathing, and then you end up in the hospital. We have a couple of people that are getting lung transplant because of e-cigarette and this popcorn lung issue. So avoid them if you can. I talked about this already. We talked about, e-cigarette versus tobacco. Which one is good? None of them is good. We know the tobacco has a long history. E-cigarette doesn't have a long history, but the deaths are coming in. So both of them is evil. We have marijuana. Marijuana, these days, the government has made it official that you can use marijuana. But we have to understand the marijuana, we call it cannabis. The cannabis plant contains over 500 compounds in there. In addition to other biological things that can grow on a compound, especially fungus. We know that a lot of these marijuana plants, during the drying process, it grows fungus, especially called aspergillus. These fungus, they don't throw them away. They just mix it up with the whole batch and they sell it to people. And so people smoke it and they end up with lung diseases. There is CBD, part of marijuana. CBD is cannabidiol. So this does not cause euphoria. And this is the one that the medical society uses to help people with cancers to avoid, to curb nausea. Sometimes they give it to them because they are in so much joint pains and stuff like that, they give it to them to ease the pain for them a little bit. But another content of marijuana is THC. And THC is the main problem. THC is psychoactive, that means it's mind altering, and it has the ingredient that produces that euphoria, that when you smoke it, you feel invincible, you feel high, you feel like you can carry the whole world. And then when the effect of it comes down, you want it more because you want it to be high up there like you were. Now, cocaine. Cocaine is a stimulant, and that also causes euphoria. People who take it makes them feel like they are energized. It is a highly addictive drug, and it's derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When the leaves are cooked and they have the coca, like the way we see it with the powder, they mix it, the coca plant, when they dry it and they grind it, they mix it with cornstarch, or they mix it with talcum powder, or even flour. And that's why you see it white like that. Sometimes they also mix it they cook it up to make it into another compound called crack. Some people mix the crack and the cocaine together, and that becomes deadly. When you take cocaine, it causes restlessness, irritability, anxiety. You become paranoid, and that paranoia often leads you to become violent because you see innocent people out there, and that paranoia changes your mental inhibition, and you think they're looking at you. You know, like I was sitting on the train one day, and this guy sitting across from me was looking intently into my face. Then he asked me, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, so the very next stop we got, I got out of the train. This is how you avoid problems, because you don't know what he's on, and you don't know why he picked you to look directly into you and try to pick up a fight. So these are the things that cocaine can do. And heroin, that's the same thing. There are some people who take both the cocaine and the heroin together. And so that makes them feel even more high and even more invincible. Some people who snort the cocaine, and when you do snort the cocaine, what you get is nosebleed. You see a whole lot of bleeding coming from your nose. That can also lead you to get anemia. And that can also lead you to get dizzy. The people who smoke it end up with lung diseases, and before you know, they will be out of breath, and they will be in the hospital, and in effort to save them, we put them on ventilation acid. Sometimes they stay on it, they can get off. During the time when they are on it in the hospital, we won't give you the cocaine that you're taking. And so they go into other issues. So, and it causes the taxpayers. The people who inject cocaine, you can tell when you look at their hands, when you see your patients, you look at their hands and you see all these wounds on them. Sometimes they end up with inflammation of the liver. You can see their yellow eyes. Sometimes their mentation is off. When you're talking to them, they are not talking right. They're not making sense. Sometimes they come into the hospital full heart attack. And sometimes they will be behaving, young people behaving like old men. They end up with symptoms like Parkinson's disease, and you see them shaking. Sometimes you see the hands shaking like a rolling pin, and it's a young person. This is a neurologic effect with the cocaine and the heroin. There is something called multi-drug use. Multi-drug use is when somebody graduated from the cocaine and they will add a heroin to it, and then they go to the neighborhood store and buy some liquor to add to it. Then they will take a couple of pills, and they will use it over time. They will use all of these things at one time. And this also causes a slew of problems. They have stomach problems, they have skin problems, they have neurological problems, and liver problems. Sometimes you see the stomach big like that. All these things here let you know that this guy is looking to go out of the world. Now, what is the reason why people take multi-drug? Sometimes it's peer pressure. Friends meet together. Oftentimes, they don't do these things alone. Friends meet together and peer pressure. They will be watching the football. This one brings beer. That one brings a cigarette. Another one brings cocaine. Another one brings the heroin. And they mix it all together. You're taking from this and that, everybody in there. Before you know, by the end of the day, you've taken each and every drug that is harmful to you. Caffeine. Caffeine is another medicine that all of us have tried caffeine, one way or the other. Tea has caffeine in there, not as much as coffee. But it's a stimulant, and it boosts alertness. It blocks something we call adenosine. And adenosine is a natural thing in you that causes drowsiness. So when you take the caffeine, it will block that drowsiness, and it will improve your focus and your cognitive function. The question is caffeine good? In some situations, the doctors will advise you to take caffeine pills in certain situations. But you have to understand, they will give you the amount that you're supposed to take. You're not going to take it on your own. So if it's 50 milligrams pills that they want you to take, that's what you take from all sources. And the reason why we like to add from all source is because we know caffeine is in a lot of things. So when we say from all source, if you take over-the-counter medicine, we'd like you to read the label. Is there caffeine in it? If you take a cup of coffee, you know there will be caffeine. Is it caffeine-free coffee, or you're taking coffee that has caffeine in it? So all that has to be accounted for. And usually when we prescribe it, we give you pen and paper. You have to write what you'll be eating and what you take. Like, let's say Monday to Friday, everything that goes into your mouth, you have to write it down. That's how we know if you're staying within your prescribed limits. So coffee as a stimulant, it stimulates your nervous system. It also acts as a diuretic. It makes you urinate a lot. It increases your stomach acid. So sometimes we tell people, if you have acid reflux, you want to stay away from coffee or any caffeinated drinks, because it's going to make it worse. You'll be refluxing into your throat all the time, and what that does, eventually, it's going to end up in your lungs, and then you end up with reflux pneumonia. So we try to tell you, stay away from that. Coffee also causes irregular heartbeat. There are some people that are sensitive to coffee. So even if they take a teaspoon of coffee, they will start palpitation. their heart will be beating real fast. Their blood pressure will rise. And that tells you that you're sensitive to it and to stay away from it. If you are under the age of 18, we tell you to try to avoid coffee. If you're pregnant and you're breastfeeding, we tell you to avoid coffee. If you have insomnia or sleep disorders, we try to tell you to avoid coffee. When it comes to headaches, coffee and headache has an opposite effect. Sometimes people with migraine is treated with caffeine. When you have migraine, we will treat it with caffeine. But that same caffeine can also give you a headache. But it will give you a headache when you don't take it. If you take it one time and you stop taking it, then the headache will come back. So in order to avoid that, don't start it at all. If you drink coffee for a week and you try to stop it, you will have a headache. All right? So we tell you, don't even try. If you're drinking tea, and I said tea has caffeine in it, if you're drinking tea, try to go for the ones that has very little, minimal caffeine in there. So we move on to food poisoning. So there are a whole lot of food poisonings that can occur. We have food poison caused by listeria, and listeria is often caused by milk that is not refrigerated. You have the milk sitting around outside for a long time, and you didn't refrigerate it. It can get contaminated and cause you to have listeria. And then we have E. coli. E. coli itself, E. coli is a bacteria that lives in our colon. It's a bacteria, a good bacteria in the colon. But E. coli also has other strains that is not good bacteria. We can find E. coli in animal intestines as well. Now, if food can get contaminated with E. coli, if the cleaning process or the slaughtering process is not done well. E. coli is heat labor. That means that if you cook your food well, you can kill it. All right? So things like meat, you have to make sure that if you're eating your meat, you have to cook it through. You have to cook it well. Don't cook it half and half. All right? Then we have Campylobacter. Campylobacter is also from undercooked food. It's a bacteria that can contaminate your food. So we advise people, when you're cooking and you're going to eat, make sure that you eat hot food hot and you eat cold food cold. And when you're protecting cold food, it has to be like at least colder than 48 degrees. And when you are heating, at least you heat it above like 140 degrees. You have to make it boil. Then there is salmonella. Salmonella, we get it in chicken. Salmonella outbreak in America is it's endemic in America here, especially chicken and eggs. All right. And you can contaminate your food when you are preparing chicken and eggs and you're touching other stuff. So you prepare the chicken, and at the same time, the same bowl, you're cutting your vegetables. Now you've contaminated your vegetables. You're not going to cook your vegetable, right? But you're cooking the chicken. So the vegetable is going to contaminate you, and it's going to contaminate your stomach. That's why we advise that you separate them when you're preparing them. And then there is another one called Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus is the one that affects your skin. It can affect your stomach also. That also has to do with food that is sitting outside for a long time. Most of the time is food that is prepared with mayonnaise. Like you have macaroni, mayonnaise, macaroni salad is sitting outside for a while, it can give you diarrhea, and it can cause you to have a lot of vomiting. We also have Shigella. Shigella is another bacteria that comes from meat products that when you ingest it, it can actually make you have bloody diarrhea. So, but if you cook your food well, that's all you have to do. Wash your hands enough, many times, cook your food well, and that should help you to avoid these things. Then we have botulism. Botulism is from canned food that is sitting outside, canned food that we get from dented cans. When you have dented cans, throw them away. Botulism, you can see that you see the can swollen up. That means that there is something wrong with it. So as I told you, E. coli, it lives in the intestines. So this picture is showing you the cow and the vegetables and the human body. How to prevent food poisoning? You clean well, you wash your hands well, you separate your vegetables from your meat, you cook through very well, and the food that needs chilling, you chill in the refrigerator. 4 steps to food safety. You clean by washing, you separate, you cook well, and you chill. Your organs, you have organs that help you. Let's say you're doing everything correctly, but in some ways you got contaminated. God created us in a way that we have an organ that helps us. So your major organ that detoxify stuff, it starts from the liver. Anything that enters your mouth will go through the liver. And from the liver will try to break it down, and then it will send it out to the lungs and then to the heart and all other places, and then the kidney will to dispose of it. If this continues or the amount that you ingested is too much for the liver to handle, then you have traces of it going into the blood. The heart is receiving it and pumping it all over, and before you know, you end up with sepsis. That's what we have to prevent. So this is the liver trying to detoxify. It's sending things to the kidney, it's sending things to the gallbladder. So when you get contaminated and you get poisoned, you have all these organs that will shut down if you don't do something fast. So this is another Bible passage that I love. It says, the thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. So this is the reason why the church is helping us to focus in, to find a way to be able to know all these things that can affect us, how we can stay away from it, go to the church, hear somebody pray, hear somebody sing. That alone will comfort you, and it will prevent you from hitting the streets to seek drugs and seek all the bad things that will not help you. Another quotation says, to accept the victory and to thank God, consider yourself dead to sin, make no provision for the flesh, and pray without ceasing. And John 10:10, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. What do? You try to eat a balanced diet, that's roughage, and drink a lot of water, plenty of water. Water is the medium that really cleans your system out. And I tell people, if you don't like just plain water, just put some lemonade, cut up some lemon, put it in there. Yesterday, we heard from the Dr. Randall telling us you can even put cucumber chop up some cucumbers and put it in the water. And that will give it a flavor that will make you drink it more and drink it abundantly. Now we have question time. I have a few questions. Okay. I have a few questions to also ask you. Yes.
And you talked about water.
After this question, I would like to ask you questions myself to see if you were paying attention.
Make sure that we can all hear each other, right? So I'm going to turn this off, and then we're going to connect through the vMix, and then they can hear you. So our friends on Zoom, we will be doing something very simple here. Elder Richardson, you can, I think you're supposed to coordinate the question and the answers, right? The Q&A.
Yes, I don't have any chat questions on this side right now.
Let it carbon get out of it, and you drink it.
Rita, you too. Rita,
The Gatorade.
yes.
So Gatorade has a substance in there that it makes you hold on to water. So it makes you hold on to water. So when you're dehydrated and we want you to hydrate you quicker, we give you substances like Gatorade, right? So you can drink the Gatorade, but you don't make Gatorade like a gallon of it every day, because your body can hold on to the water that you're drinking. You understand? Because Gatorade is meant for hydration, right? But rapid hydration. Right. Right. So I'm gonna ask a question. True or false? Caffeine can be found in some over-the-counter medications. Is it true or false? Anybody says false? That's true. Over-the-counter medications, some of the over-the-counter medications have caffeine in there. So true or false? E. coli is a bacteria that lives in the intestines of both humans and animals. E. coli. That's true. It lives in both human and animal colon, except for the one strain that causes problem for us. True or false? Nail polish remover can cause fire.
True.
I'm proud of you guys. That means you are paying attention.
The Zoom folks were also answering.
Yeah.
True. True.
So, true or false? Alcohol is a stimulant.
True.
False.
True. True. True.
The question is true or false? Alcohol is a stimulant.
True.
Alcohol
True.
a stimulant?
True. Yes.
Is false. Alcohol is a
false?
depressant.
Oh. Depressant. Oh, okay.
Alcohol is a depressant.
Yes. It
True or false?
is.
Aspirin can cause asthma in some people.
True.
Everybody's quiet.
Not
Aspirin
sure.
can cause asthma in some people. True or false?
Don't
That's
remember
very
before.
true. That is true.
Okay.
True or false? Aspirin can cause kidney problems.
True. True.
Very true. Good. Good. You guys did very well. That means you're listening attentively. I'm proud of you. No, I finished my questions.
The chicken and the vegetable that we spoke about, that we must be have it separate. Don't touch both of them at the same time while cooking.
Yes.
Why is it? Because you're going to eat the both of them and going in the same stomach. So why, if your hands are clean, you're cooking clean, everything is clean, and you touch the vegetable, then touch the chicken, then it becomes contaminated.
Yes, because in America here, the bacteria called salmonella is endemic here, and oftentimes comes with the chicken. So when you're preparing the chicken in the sink, you buy the chicken from the grocery store. You don't know if it's contaminated or not, right? It's only after a recall, then we know that chicken from here, there, that was sold in such and such area was contaminated. But that will be after people have been suffering, and the healthcare people have been trying to track it down. So we tell people, when you're preparing the chicken, consider it contaminated. So you're preparing it separately. The salmonella, remember I said, is heat labile. That means if you cook it, it kills the salmonella. So when you prepare it or you clean it separately and you cook it, you've killed the salmonella in there. If during the process of preparation and you touch your vegetable, your vegetable is not going to be cooked. Let's say your salad, it's not going to be cooked. So that salmonella will stay alive on that salad. So that's the reason why we like you to separate it. All right. If sometimes what we advise is that if you're going to cook chicken and salad, prepare the salad first and put it away. Then you handle your chicken. And when you finish your chicken, you have to clean the surface, all the surfaces, and wash your hands very well. Okay. That way you don't carry the bacteria from one area to the other. Even your pipe faucet, like the faucet that you turn in, you have to be careful that when you're in a sink washing your chicken, if you have to touch the faucet, use paper to touch the faucet. That way you don't contaminate it. Not only chicken, but you remember we talk about E. coli, and that comes from beef and other stuff also.
At what degree of eating that germs would this contaminated? At what heat?
When you're cooking meat, it has to be at least 150 degrees. And sometimes some people have the heat thing that they took. Sometimes when you're cooking like turkey, Sometimes it comes with that heating poke in there, and then it will come out when the inside is cooked. But it's not in all meat. You have to make sure that the meat you're cooking is cooked through. In certain states, they expect you to cook the meat up to 155 degrees.
Thank you.
So most of you like their meats rare or medium rare. You're taking a chance to.
They take a lot of chance, and what you don't know is that we get a lot of them in the hospitals too. Yeah.
So my question is, what if somebody just says, I drink socially. I'm not an alcoholic. I just only do it when I go out there. What advice can we give to such a person? Because you say, I'm not addicted yet. I just have a glass of beer here and there.
So no alcoholic will tell you that they are alcoholic or they are addicted. So the whole thing starts with socialization, right? So today I go out with a friend and then we have a couple of beers. The next day another friend invites, we go out, and that's how it starts. The same way that the opioids, like the medications that we give to patients for pain, the same way it starts. You know, take one pill a day, and then one day you take the pill and your pain didn't quite, go away. You don't like the way you feel. The next day, instead of taking one, you take two, right? So you go out, you socialize. The next day, yesterday you had 2 beers. Well, today I'll take 3. I did fine yesterday. So today you take 3, and on and on. And before you know, you're finishing a whole case of beer. The best thing to do is to not start. I tell people, just ask for tonic water. It's the best.
You speak about medication. There's any medication that does not carry a side effect?
There's no medicine that does not have side effect. All medications have side effect. So that's the reason why we have medications in different milligrams. All right? Because what the amount that I will take to take care of what is ailing me might not work for you. Right? So if I'm taking less, you're taking high, and I try to take your dosage, I might get sick. Right. But there is no medicine that does not have a side effect. You play a balanced game and hope that what you're treating will go away with minimum amount of dose.
Because what I was about to say is that the side effect that any medication has, and if you're taking it for a period of time, then more than less you'll get some of the side effect.
Right, but during the time when the manufacturers are working on these medications, the side effect that they will write on the label does not mean that that side effect is across the board 100%. Some people will not have any side effect at all. Some people will have more side effect, and some people will have some of the side effect and not all of it. But during the time when medication is being manufactured, whatever, the people who are in the research team, whatever they report must be labeled down. Well, I took this medicine and I had diarrhea. Maybe you have 20 people in the research, right? One person had diarrhea. 19 people didn't have diarrhea. You still must list that diarrhea that was reported on the list of side effects. You understand what I mean?
I understand you clearly, but most of the medication that the doctor give you,
Yes.
it doesn't tell you that it will be just for a period of time, whether 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Sometimes you're taking it constantly right through your lifetime. So what I'm asking you now, the side effect that medication carry, 95% chances that you must get some of the side effect.
Yes. So let's say, for instance, aspirin, right? We know aspirin has side effects. It can make you bleed in your stomach, right? But you do need that aspirin to take care of ABC, right? So it's a matter of either you take the aspirin or you die, right? So what we do, because we know that that aspirin, you need it to live, but the side effect is bleeding in the stomach. Now we have to find another medicine to prevent the stomach from bleeding. So then, right.
That's why you end up with 3, 4 different.
Exactly.
Thank you. Sister, we have some questions in the Zoom. Elder Richardson, are you
Yes.
ready?
Yes, I have. First question we have is asking, why is energy drink so addictive to the point that people, especially men, are drinking it first thing in the morning as early as 7 a.m.? That's the first question.
Remember, when we talked about the energy drink, we said it has caffeine in there, and it has high sugar that give you a boost. So caffeine is addictive, and the sugar that you have, that high energy that bursts into your blood system, it makes you energized. But once your body works the caffeine out, like your liver detoxifies it out, and the sugar detoxify it out, you're like a hills and valleys. So once you go down to the valley, you want to go to the hilltop again. So you want another. Remember, I told you they have some substance in there called taurine, and taurine is another addictive medication, compound that they have in these things.
Yes, there's a second question.
Yes, second question is, are vitamins considered medications, and do they have side effects as well?
Yes. So vitamins are things that you take. Vitamins is supposed to be things that supports your body. If you overdo it, it can affect you. So that's the reason why, if let's say you're taking calcium and they tell you take 1 pill a day, then that's what you do. You take 1 pill a day. If you take 2 pills per day over a time, we know calcium can make you constipate. So you end up with constipation. Then you will see that it will also have some muscle relaxing effect. Then all these things will come in with you. So if you're taking it as prescribed on the bottle, by the way, vitamins are not one of the medications that FDA monitors. So anybody can sit in their home and cook up a vitamin and put it out there and sell. So those are the things that we always tell the patients, that consumers must be aware. The FDA does not follow vitamins. Anybody can cook it up. I can cook it up in my kitchen and put it out somewhere in one of the stores and tell you that it does this and that and does that. And so long as money is coming in, people don't care. There was a time when we had a conference in Maryland, and we had a whole bunch of scientists from all over, some from Japan, from Europe, China, and each of them, and most impressive one were the guys from Germany. And they came to America and they picked, like they went to the vitamin shop, they went to Duane Reed, and they pick up all these vitamins and they study them. They look at the labels that the bottles contain and try to see if any of the things that they are saying that the vitamin has, is it true? And believe you, it's not.
A little bit on the vitamins. They don't classify it as medication. They call it the food supplement.
Supplement.
Yeah, and once they classify it as supplement, they don't follow that.
Yes.
So, I don't know, are there any more questions in the Zoom? Brother Daniel, your hand is up.
I would like to just share one that we talked about a little bit. So the concept of being exposed to harmful substances or chemicals, I think one important one, especially in modern day, we should consider is the off-gassing of things like formaldehyde and chemicals from our furniture and the materials and plastics and other things that we bring home, especially when we don't allow our home to be well ventilated. These
Right.
have also shown signs of carcinogen. So maybe you could just touch on that briefly before we start wrapping up.
So I talked about adding Clorox and formaldehyde, but my time was limited, so I took them out. I was very interested in talking about formaldehyde, mainly because I come from Ghana, and a lot of times we use dry meat and dry fish. There was a time when the people who are curing this fish and the meat started using formaldehyde. And formaldehyde, we know this is what you use in embalming dead bodies and stuff like that. So what they were doing, they were using it to embalm the meat or embalm the fish so that it will stay dry and preserved. And it caused a slew of problems. It was causing cancers, especially the women. It was causing a lot of uterine breast cancers and stomach cancers and all kinds of cancers until the government got wind of it and stopped it. So formaldehyde is a very important thing. People think it's benign, but it's not. It's not benign. It's a carcinogen. That's the reason why they only use it on dead bodies. All right. And then there is Clorox also. We use Clorox in chlorine, Clorox in cleaning, but when you inhale these things here, they also can cause neurological problems. So if you're going to use Clorox, that's the reason why you must dilute it. You dilute it to use it so that your contact, the contact that you come with it is not like persistent contact for it to give you health issues.
And I think also, yes, Elder Daniel was mentioning that things should be, when you're opening new packages at home, it should be very well ventilated. Especially you buy the memory foams, you buy all these things which are wrapped in plastic and bubbles and all that. You are wrapping them and your room is sealed. Most of these things come into contact with oxygen and then they oxidize and they become carcinogens. So
they become carcinogen, and then before you know, they causing problems in human lives. One other thing that I wanted when it comes to cleaning products and stuff like that, I just want to encourage. So many times that I see what cleaning products have done to our children. So many times I see people who especially work in cleaning jobs, and they will be coming home and they're taking some of the cleaning materials that they were using at work and bringing it home so that they can use it in their homes to clean. And most of the time they have them in soda bottles, because this is your job, and this is from your job. You don't have any bottle that you take to the job purposely to bring these things home. They bring it home in soda cans and soda bottles, come in and leave it right there. They have children at home. They see a soda bottle and they think it's soda. And many, many times we see children come into the hospital that have drunk these things, and a lot of times it burns them from the mouth all the way down to the stomach. All right? Oftentimes, it's a sad thing to look at. And too many times that happens. So we encourage mothers and parents, when you are in the house, you're cleaning materials, please lock them away. If you're going to bring something from outside, don't put it into an edible or a drinking bottle. Put it someplace where it's hidden, not into a soda bottle or a soda can or a juice bottle or whatever that is. And when you bring it to the house, lock it up.
All right. I want to thank my big sister, Sister Esther. Were you all blessed by the presentation today? If you are blessed, yes, put your hands together for her. Say a big amen on Zoom. Put your thumbs up on. I see Zoom is going wild right now, Sister Esther. So you have to go and check out the video. We had a good number of folks online watching and following along on Zoom, and then another chunk on YouTube. So we just want to thank you for all of the care and the effort and the studying that came along with this presentation. God bless you. And can we have the presentation so that we can share it with those that would like it? Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but thank you for that. So we'll make sure to get the presentation out to as many folks as are able. I see, again, we have visitors on Zoom. I was just on there briefly checking out who's there. I just want to welcome you guys on there. YouTube, we can't talk back and forth, but I know that there's some folks there as well. So I just want to say thank you for joining us. And my brother, I didn't get the name. Leonard, lovely to have you. Thank you so much for coming. You live right here in Co-op City, right? Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. And those wonderful questions that you asked, you made the discussion very engaging. So thank you for coming out. Tomorrow evening, we continue our series. We'll be virtual, purely virtual, and we'll be talking and picking up the conversation on nutrition as medicine. Nutrition as medicine. And Dr. Marvin from yesterday will continue with that study. So with that said, Sister Esther, I'm going to pray and we'll pray us out and wrap up our session for tonight. So let's all stand, those that are here physically in the sanctuary. If you're on Zoom, just assume a prayer posture, heads bowed and eyes closed. Let's pray. Father, tonight, we thank you for the wisdom that you have shared with us through your daughter, Sister Esther. We are so grateful, and we pray a special blessing upon her. I ask, Lord, that you would touch her and continue to utilize her for your name's honor and glory. I thank you for her, and I thank you for her ministry here Co-op City SDA Church as well as abroad. I pray you would bless her and her entire family, including her husband, Brother Harris, who is here as well. And I ask, dear Lord, that you would continue to strengthen all of us tuning in. May we not just be hearers of the word, but may we put it into practice. May we be doers of the word, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Brother Harris, thank you for coming tonight. God bless you as well. And I think we'll play our theme song online as we close out. God bless you all.
There is a bright new life that's so exciting, and you can have this life if you decide. The Lord can feel that lonely, empty feeling. He'll give you joy and happiness inside. Now you don't have to fully understand it, or try to comprehend the hows and whys, but He will give you more than you could hope for, much more than you could ever realize. You can experience something that is wonderful. You can experience something that is grand. You can experience something that is marvelous if you let the Savior take you by the hand. Oh, by the hand. Bright new life that's so exciting, and you can have this life if you decide. The Lord can feel that lonely, empty feeling. He'll give you joy and happiness inside. You can experience something that is wonderful. You can experience something that is grand. You can experience something that is marvelous if you let the Savior take you by the hand. There is a bright new life that's so exciting, and you can have this life if you decide. The Lord can feel that lonely, empty feeling. He'll give you joy and happiness. Enjoy and happiness inside. Is it up there? Oh, boy.